Teściowie, new Polish dramedy by first-time director Jakub Michalczuk. The film has so far had a theatrical release in Poland and in Ireland, of all places, with perhaps more countries to follow. I've seen the trailer for it a couple of weeks ago and wasn't really planning on seeing it at all. Kind of looked like a really generic Polish comedy, but then my parents attended an advanced screening and they told me to go see it when it's out. So I did, and I was actually very pleasantly surprised by the film. It starts with Andrzej and Gosia, the parents of the groom-to-be, pacing nervously around the fancy ballroom hired for the wedding party and discussing logistics in the face of what just happened. And what happened was that the groom called off the wedding while already in the church. So now the parents are there, the dance hall is paid for, so is the food, the band, the alcohol, people came from all over for the ceremony, and the parents decide, alright, just fuck it, let's just roll with it for now, have a party anyway, whoever comes will just have some drinks, it will be a wedding without a groom or bride. And then the other parents show up, the parents of the bride, and through conversations and increasing tensions, many hidden grievances, dislikes and personal issues begin coming to light. And this sort of powder keg of bottled up emotions is bound to really explode eventually, despite the best initial efforts by everybody to save face and act like nothing really happened. So it's a small film, literally, just the four main actors with all the background characters being kind of irrelevant, insignificant, and it all takes place in the ballroom and the surrounding hallways, kitchens, elevators and so on. But it manages to take very few ingredients and do a whole lot with them. It is a movie that relies very heavily on dialogue and performances, and both of those elements are executed quite well. I do often have a problem with Polish cinema where the actors come off as stiff and very theatrical. No issues here. I completely believed the characters throughout the film. And they're so well crafted as well that you basically know exactly what kind of people they are just from the first glance, just from the very first few lines of initial dialogue, the way they talk and the way they behave and look at one another. Everything is very clear to the audience at all times. The stand-up performance for me was Marcin Dorociński, who has a lot of tiny moments where he's sort of calm and collected on the surface, but you can see there's a whole lot going on underneath, thoughts racing and emotions boiling. I also have to commend the technical aspects of the film, the opening sequence especially. It's a 20-something minute sequence, which is seemingly a single unbroken take. And I was watching very carefully, and I think there are actually like 3 or 4 hidden cuts in there, but they are woven into the sequence very well, and so it actually convincingly looks like a single uninterrupted shot. The camera is very fluid in it as well. It follows Andrzej and Gosia around the room, then outside, then sort of a waiter approaches and asks something and we follow along him, into the kitchen for a moment, then swirling back to the main couple. Just really brilliant, impressive stuff. And I also think that the tone of the film is very good. It skirts the line between drama and comedy in a way that successfully marries the sensibilities of both. We believe the serious emotions between the characters, but we also laugh at the jokes because they fit in with the rest. Well balanced is what the film is, and it's pretty concise as well. It's just 82 minutes, so it flies through. My one tiny issue is with the use of several side characters who have a bit of dialogue and seem to be planting seeds for subplots or some sort of payoff that never really comes to fruition. There is no payoff, so I thought that was kind of weird. But for the most part, my attention was on the central four anyway, and that is the part that works, which means Teściowie is an unexpectedly solid movie indeed.